A Nobel laureate, Al Gore. In 2007, Al Gore was rewarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his work on climate change. Some background information about Al Gore is that he was born in Washington, D.C. on March 31st, 1948. He was born to a son of a Democratic Tennessee senator whose name was Albert Gore Sr. Elected to the House of Representatives at a young age of 28 as a Democrat. He served 2 terms as senator representing Tennessee, as well as 2 terms under President Bill Clinton, while he focused on technology, which he made the White House website with, and environmental issues, which we'll get in a bit later. He ran for president in 2000 and won the popular vote, but lost the Electoral College to George W. Bush. He continued his climate work after his term as vice president. He also graduated from Harvard, but went to Vanderbilt after he served in the military in Vietnam as a military reporter. In college, he took a class with an oceanographer professor, Roger Revelle, at Vanderbilt, who was interesting him in the rising CO2 levels in the atmosphere. This continued into his political career as he moved on to the vice presidency. Some of his contributions he made to climate change and the greater world was that he was most notably known for his work as vice president, creating and ensuring international agreements. Things included the Kyoto Protocol, the Global Climate Change Action Plan, and some advocacy for phasing out fossil fuel usage. But after his term as vice president was when most of his work for climate really thrived. This is where he made investments in green technologies, such as wind turbines, and formed many climate tracking and action organizations that track how CO2 levels are rising across the globe. He was even in a documentary, as you see here on the right, the title is An Inconvenient Truth, which has brought climate change into a mainstream political issue and into a mainstream conversation of people's everyday lives. Al Gore was effective. He was effective because he was good at communicating to people. This was seen as he won the popular vote in 2000 presidential election. He used this by presenting climate impacts that everyone knows about, things like storms and droughts that your average Joe could understand would get worse. He was literally the second most powerful person in the U.S. and at one time, and certainly made policy that contributed to the slowing of climate change. He was also in many types of media, as he was a former vice president when his climate action work took off. This made it easy for him to get book deals to write on climate change, and deals to make documentaries to talk about climate change. Al Gore leaves behind a great legacy. He has a personal legacy of bridging the gap between scientists and your average man. He done this by the ability of being liked as a vice president and being able to talk to people and connecting people like scientists and your average man. He also invested in a firm focused on sustainable investment practices, which was very impressive as they were connecting the harsh environment of trying to make money and the idea of saving the environment. This speaks to the Clinton era, as they were some of the first Democrats to really think about economic reasons behind things. His work legacy is going to last for a while as well, as in the 2020 election, 42% of people said that climate change was a very important issue. It continues to shape our political system today because it is the reason people get funding from government for the research. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a beneficiary of government research funding, and I'm glad it still exists today. Climate action rose exponentially after Al Gore started advocating for it. From calling to action to influencing of policymakers, climate activists sparked by Al Gore have gotten their message across. Here is my works cited page. And this is the end. Thank you for watching.